Welcome to another episode of Beyond Cheaters, Detective Gomez Files. And today we're talking about what's going on right effing now. Now, sadly to say, there's been another massive shooting here in the United States. And sadly to say, 3 children and 3 teachers have lost their life. Now, quickly, politicians, we won't get too much into it, but the politicians have started going back and forth at each other. And of course, today, I got my special co-host today, Mr. TL, number 33, in the house. TL, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Detective Gomez. How are you?
Good, my friend. So let's talk about this shooting, another mass shooting that happened again. And what are your thoughts on it just when you saw it come across your TV screen? What did you think about it?
Well, it was another horrifying incident, another example of some mental illness that didn't get addressed thoroughly. You had mentioned earlier about politics, and that's what your president has moved to right off the bat. He was joking about eating raisin ice cream, and he knew full well what was going on because then he started talking about the tragic incident. You have another disturbed individual. They could have used a knife to create that carnage, but your Democrats or your liberals, your radicals, want to jump on the fact that it had what they call an assault weapon, which you and I both know. An assault weapon is something specialized that the armed forces use that shoot many rounds, many times. You know, back in the day, you know, I used to call them machine guns, but you know, they have different clever names for them now. But an AR-15 is still a single shot weapon. Boom, boom, boom. Now the bullets penetrate. The bullets being a 308 or a 223 millimeter, they're pretty hot rounds. But this is going to be, you know, my favorite sport's football, Detective Gomez. This is going to be a political football because they're going to kick around. But the horror, you know, those kids are 9 years old, the victims, and that's all they were guilty of was going to school. You mentioned the other 3 adults, the other 3 people killed. One was a custodian. He took care of that property daily. The first adult that got killed was the headmaster, and she's a female. And they said she got off a Zoom call, ran to where the gunfire was, and tried to take on the shooter. She perished, of course. And then the poor other lady, she was a substitute school teacher.
Right. She's just doing it part-time.
Yeah. I mean, what if she went in on a Friday, you know, instead of a Monday or something? Would have never happened. Right. But you watch. This is going to occupy the media for a while and a call to disarm good citizens of the United States.
You know, people are always, in both me, I've had law enforcement background, 12 years. You've got 38 years, am I correct? 38, yes, sir. 38 years of law enforcement. And we understand, we've seen it with our own eyes as law enforcement officers, that we've even lost one of our close friends to a crazy person that was mentally disturbed a long time downtown. I don't think people understand that it starts at home. You've got to be able to, if you see your child or this person that's mentally not all there, and they have a gun, you know, what are they doing with the gun in the first place? Can anybody explain that? What was this? You know, I know this person was a transsexual. Is that correct?
Well, yes, they call them transgender, but that could change tomorrow. That could change the next hour of what they call themselves. But definitely mental illness.
Yeah, and that had nothing to do with it, with whatever they want to claim themselves as. But the most important thing, there was something mentally wrong with that person. And I don't recall exactly where they said that this person was living at. It was she was 28 years old, right?
Right. He lived with his mother, and somehow or another he was able to secrete 7 weapons there that he had acquired, all legally at this presumption. They're still sitting on the manifesto that he allegedly written. But, you know, a lot of people are really angry because they want to prosecute this as a hate crime. It doesn't really matter. The perpetrator's dead.
Yeah.
But just for examples, this needs to be investigated by the federal government, the Department of Justice, as a hate crime. Because this individual who used to attend this Christian school, they say, targeted Christians. But you're gonna see a bunch of massaging of the facts. Only certain facts can be let out. But you wait your House Republicans, you're going to demand answers.
And we need to get answers. There's no excuse for those 3 children not to be living. There's no excuse for those 3 teachers not to be living. And there's just no reason for this to keep occurring. But I think as long as these mental people don't get the help they need, this is still going to happen. And you know, and I know, we've discussed this before, bad people, bad guys, doesn't matter. They'll find a way to get a gun. Or I think I saw something on the news the other day where somebody was on an airplane trying to stab somebody with a plastic fork or spoon or something like that. You know, they find different ways to make weapons to achieve their goal. So they're going to find, you know, they don't get a what they call an assault rifle. They're going to get maybe 3 handguns. They're still going to do what they intend to do.
You are correct.
They're going to do it. They're going to find a way to get that gun. You know, just recently in Dallas, there was a shooting involving a 15-year-old. Where did this 15-year-old get the gun? He wasn't mental. No one said he was mentally crazy. It was something involving something that happened at school. And when he got a gun, I think, and there was another shooting not too long ago where somebody had a shotgun and shot somebody. And one of the pellets went and hit somebody. So what I'm trying to explain is, okay, let's just say, for example, they take away the assault rifles. They're going to start taking away shotguns next, you know, just because they say, well, now they're using shotguns now. What's next? You know, the problem starts at home, and people got to be able to address that problem as quick as they can. Or if they notice something, you know, notify the authorities so that the police can take action and put these people where they need to be.
Definitely for some mental health treatment. And you are correct. They're going to weaponize something. You know, people get stabbed to death by scissors. Are they going to outlaw scissors?
Yeah.
No. But you got to keep in mind, if you can disarm your general populace, a regular citizen of the United States, you can't stop anybody from coming in and taking what's yours. Yes, if the federal government takes guns away from regular citizens, you have no way to defend yourself. And that includes defending yourself against your federal government should they come to your house.
Well, and they can't, I just don't think it's going to be possible. Crazy people, bad guys, criminals are going to find a way to get things done the way they want it. If they want to achieve a goal of hurting somebody, robbing somebody, commit murder, they're going to find a way to get it done. They're going to steal a gun. And most of these people are doing these crimes. You know, I mean, they're purchasing the guns legally, and some of them don't purchase the gun legally.
They can steal it from their parents. Maybe the father purchased it, or even the mother purchased it legally, and they can steal it from them. And the parents say, well, I had no idea they had my gun.
Yeah. Because the parents are afraid to invade their privacy. You got to invade your child's privacy. Find out what the hell's going on. There was something on TV just 30 minutes ago talking about a little baby got a hold of the parent's gun and shot themselves in the chest or something like that. It survived. And then the police were saying that, you know, don't leave your guns laying around the house when you got children around. You know, you can't get lazy with that. These guns.
Well, in Texas, you can be prosecuted for having a weapon that's available to a child. You know, I mean, you can use a gun safe. You can use little trigger locks, what have you. You can actually prosecute people in Texas for not securing that weapon properly in your home. And I'll go back to this, Detective Gomez. Your child has no right to privacy until they turn 17. They probably, you know, probably still live with you up to the point you kick them out to college or whatever. If they're a minor or a juvenile, you know, under 17, they have no right to privacy. And if you think about it, your parents are your first authority.
That's right.
Your first teachers, they're like your first principals. They're the boss. And Detective Gomez, everybody has a boss.
That's right. Well, my dad used to tell me a long ago, you ain't got no privacy as long as you're living under this roof. So
and you know what? That's his room too. He just lets you stay there.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's his food. That's his food too. He just lets you eat it.
That's right. So, you know, as we talk about this, and I know that the president at the beginning of the year wanted to raise the age limit to buy a gun. I think it's 18 now. They wanted to raise it to 21. And this person was clearly 28 years of age. It wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
Doesn't matter. if something's going wrong in their head, there's not any way you're going to be able to control that unless you see something wrong, or this person's talking kind of crazy, like, hey, I've got something against Christian schools, or I got or maybe a teacher that was working there at that time. I don't like this person. I want to go back, and maybe they said something to me 20 years ago and I want to go back and take revenge. People got to be able to step up and be able to say, hey, by the way, my friend's got a problem here. Y'all need to address this. And law enforcement needs to get involved too. Lots of times you do call the police sometimes and they go, well, it's not really a direct threat. We need a little bit more than that for us to take some kind of action. I've heard that before. I've had clients call me and say, well, Detective Gomes, I called the police on my crazy boyfriend. He said he was going to come get me, but the police said that wasn't enough. We needed more than that. And they don't do anything. What's the answer for that?
Police are in a tough position, Detective Gomez, because not only are we dealing with the citizenry that call us, we have to think, this is chess, not checkers. We have to think a few moves ahead on what a prosecutor, a county prosecutor is going to accept and press charges. You're right. The police officer at the scene needs to evaluate the situation, and people talk crap on the phone or send texts. Mm-hmm. Some of your northern states have what they call menacing statutes. You can't threaten people. And in Texas and the rest of the South, you can't threaten people either. There's got to be a credible threat. You've got to think it could possibly be carried out. Because, like they say, there's, all's love and all's fair in love and war.
Right.
Love makes men crazy. We're going to say crazy stuff. And the women are going to say crazy stuff too. But it has to meet that. It must rise to the level of a crime. Now, back in the 70s, mid-80s, a family violence assault wasn't really a thing. And as far as the laws of arrest, we couldn't arrest for a misdemeanor that did not occur in our presence. Mm-hmm. If you threaten if you threaten violence to someone, that's a Class C misdemeanor, like getting a traffic ticket. If you make contact and it causes a little pain, that's a Class A misdemeanor, which can land you a $2,000 fine and a year in jail. When you cause permanent damage is when it's a felony. Mm-hmm. But they've also addressed, you knock on the door, a woman says, hey, he punched me. Well, I didn't see the punch. I didn't see the injury. So back then I couldn't arrest for that. But now if she can just say he threatened to punch me, we have to arrest him and get him out of the situation. And what happens 2 or 3 days later, that's on somebody else. But the police have to take action immediately.
And let them figure it out later on after they go to jail. And now that this happened at the school, you think this will happen again soon?
They say there's a lot of copycat situations that follow that. I just don't see society getting better. Detective Gomez, you mentioned moms and daddies and families that nuclear component has broken down, and that is producing. You can go back in time to the mass murders, whatever, and they had a horrible childhood. Well, they may have screwed it up themselves. I just think there's some things you can't stop. You have to be vigilant and you have to be aware, but it's not going to be 100%.
Yeah, I don't think
you can look for signs, and there's legal ways to get someone committed to a hospital for a little while. Uh-huh. They can't keep them forever.
No, they can't. I think of what I guess we can both agree on this, that the police department, took action quickly and took the threat out, and as quickly as possible.
Detective Gomez, that was some brave Southern boys. They didn't have time to consider, hey, are you feeling like a man or a woman today? Which bathroom should you use today? Those boys were highly trained in what they did, and they took action, and they prevented more murders.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So I guess we both can pretty much agree that it all starts at home, and hopefully people will learn to take more aggressive action when they see, I guess it's hard for you to say, hey, by the way, I think my son needs some mental help. It's hard. It's your child, but people have got to take more action. They got to, or things like
it's a responsibility. I think it's your responsibility to protect the rest of the society from your demented or disturbed child, if you will, under 17. Detective Gomez, you and I were raised during the same time period I mentioned earlier. You know who the authority was in your house.
Oh,
you knew who was going to whip your butt if you did something wrong.
That's right.
And that's your dad. And that's what's missing right now. There's no, I don't want to call it single mother raising kids, whatever. It could happen in a two-parent household.
Right.
The raising and the inputting of good values aren't there. The Detective Gomez is 1%. That's never going to be effective. You can have two great parents. Kid still does something crazy.
All right, my friend. Well, thanks for being on the show today, TL. I appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of the Detective Gomez, Beyond Cheaters Detective Gomez show. And hopefully we'll be seeing you again here really, really soon. So thanks for watching and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Take care.